Let's go live now to the associate editor at the Australian newspaper, Graham Lloyd. Graham, look at The Voice, the parliamentary committee now underway, as we saw in that report there. Where do you see the debate right now?
Good morning, Kieran. Well, certainly we've reached a new phase in the Voice to Parliament debate. The Parliamentary Committee is looking at the wording that will be taken to the referendum, and it's all turning on the point about the extent to which the Voice can make representations to the executive and the risks that litigation can gum up the works if a due process hasn't been followed on that representation. I think we've seen Julian Leeser has left the coalition front bench. There's a lot of discussion about where things should go. At the end of the day, it depends how open the parliamentary committee is to considering changes that can build a bigger bipartisan support and give the Voice the best chance it could have at a referendum.
Indeed, we'll see how open they are. The Liberals, meantime, in a broader sense, Graham, trying to rebuild who they are.
There's been a number of events over recent weeks that have really crystallised in the mind of party leaders that now is the time to have a deep reflective soul search and plot a pathway forward. We had some research in the Weekend Australian that showed that the Howard battlers, if you like, the mortgage holders, have shifted over now firmly to Labor. And that is the contest that will decide future elections. And really the Liberal Party needs to go back to first principles, be able to articulate what it's all about and why it deserves support. And the view is it can't just sit there and assume that things will come back their way. They have to have something definitive to sell next time they get an opportunity.
Indeed, stand for something. And go back to those, the thing that they can all agree on, as opposed to some of these other issues which do divide Liberals. On the China relationship, let me ask about that, with the trade relationship improving. How's the outlook in the longer term?
Well, there's a very big game at play, if you like. There was a bit of a breakthrough this week on trade. Australia has agreed to pause its complaints of the World Trade Organization about China's blocking of barley imports. There's suggestion that this may represent a thawing, if you like, and trade will get back up and running. Penny Wong has been realistic in saying, look, things have changed and exporters should really keep their options open and develop other markets. The backstop is that China has really dropped the wolf warrior diplomacy and is on a global campaign now to assert its authority as a world leader and build coalitions that disadvantage the United States. Australia is caught very much in the middle on this, and the government is showing every sign that it understands it has to be very careful how it treads.
And a related issue, the French President Emmanuel Macron had talks with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, and then he made some interesting remarks. He says that Europe should not get caught up in crises that aren't ours. He says the worst thing would be to think that we Europeans must be followers and adapt ourselves to an American rhythm. What did you make of his comments? Does it sort of mark a split in the West?
Well, they were extraordinary comments, and they would have been very welcomed by the Chinese Communist Party. This is part of the outreach, if you like, by the CCP, trying to win friends and cause divisions. The import of the comments by the French president is, well, it sends a signal to America that, look, it's doing the heavy lifting in Europe with regard to Ukraine, and it undermines that sense of cohesion, which, of course, is to the advantage of Russia and, by proxy, China. China. So it's part of a very big diplomatic play. It's very unhelpful for the US, very unhelpful for Ukraine, and plays into the hands of China and Russia.
Indeed. Associate Editor at The Australian, Graham Lloyd, thank you. Chat to you next week.
Thank you.